Peter Brookes, he's Senior Fellow of National Security Affairs at the Heritage Foundation. Peter, good to see you.
Good to see you, too.
What really struck me in the interview with Chris Wallace, the Senator Man, he really continued to hammer away at Riyadh for its long support of Wahhabism. He called Saudi Arabia, quote, the largest state sponsor of radical Islam and violent jihad, saying they teach hatred of Christians, of Jews and Hindus, and he questions if they're really an ally. How does the administration finesse all this in light of this horrible killing?
Well, you have to be pragmatic about it, Eric. Think about Saudi Arabia. I wouldn't call it an ally necessarily. I'd call it a partner. There are issues, and some of them have been mentioned many times, but it is an important partnership when you think about what's going on in the Middle East. You think about Iran's expansionism. You think about the war in Yemen, which is part of Iranian expansionism. You see the troubles in Syria, counterterrorism cooperation in that part of the world. They're a major player in the energy markets, and they also are a consumer or a country that buys American weapons, and we've had a long-term security relationship with them. So this is an important partnership. There's nothing wrong with finding out all the facts. I think we have to be slow to react to this, other than, based on what we know. We need the investigation to go forward in Saudi Arabia. What the foreign minister said, I hope that's the path that they do take, and we do have transparency on this, and accountability is held. We also want to hear from Turkey. It's very interesting, all the things we've been hearing about that are information that Turkey supposedly has that has not been found in public sources.
That could come this coming week, because President Erdogan says he's going to lay it all out there. Publicly. So, I mean, that would be astounding. I mean, this is such an apparent violation of human decency completely by this killing. And let me play you a soundbite from the foreign minister, in which he claimed, they're distancing themselves from it. He says it was a rogue operation. Listen.
This was an operation that was a rogue operation. This was an operation where individuals ended up exceeding the authorities and responsibilities they had. They made the mistake when they killed Jamal Khashoggi in the consulate, and they tried to cover up for it.
So now he's pointing the finger at them. What's going to happen? These 18 people, they're going to get put in prison, or they're going to be blamed. They're going to be the fall people for this, and they're going to be beheaded?
Well, that's what we need to know, Eric. I mean, we need to be careful here. Now, there are rogue operations. They happen. I mean, no matter where you are in the world, these things can happen. I'm not saying that is what happened here. The responsibility could go much higher than that. But we need to find out. That's why I'm saying we need to see what the Saudis find out. We need to see what the Turks know. We also have to do our own investigation. Yes, I think we're in agreement on that.
Wouldn't they try to protect? I'm sorry to interrupt, but wouldn't they do all they possibly could do to try and protect the Crown Prince?
Well, maybe they will. That's certainly a possibility. He is the leader of the country. It is a monarchy, and that's certainly a possibility. I mean, we have a crisis here in our relationship, and we have a personal tragedy and a human tragedy in the death of this journalist. So, I mean, we need to know as much as we can to inform our actions, whether some sort of punitive action needs to be taken by the United States. Hopefully, if that's the case, in concert with others who see this as a terrible tragedy and a grave violation of human rights. So I think what I'm saying is that we need to know more. We don't know where this is going to lead. We want transparency from the Saudis. We want transparency from the Turks. Remember, the Saudis and the Turks have a contentious relationship, too, over a number of issues. And that's why our investigation is going to be critically important. Our intelligence organizations putting together what they know and are able to find out based on what they're able to gather overseas to inform our decisions about how this relationship goes forward.
And what type of action or punishment do you think would be appropriate? I mean, in the building behind you, Congress can enact the Majeski Act by themselves. That doesn't sanction states. That sanctions individual people. Right. But, Rand Paul says stop selling them arms. I mean, do you sanction the individuals? Do you throw out diplomats? Do you stop giving them parts for the warplanes? We refuel their warplanes for the war in Yemen. Do you just stop some of this cooperation so they get the message?
Well, that's a possibility, but we don't know what the answers are yet, right, Eric? I mean, that's why I'm saying let's find out what we know and then take the appropriate actions. And you're right. The executive branch is an important player there. They can do things. The State Department, certainly the White House, and also the Congress can do things as well. But let's find out as much as we can so that we do this right. Sometimes we get way out in front of ourselves on these issues and not having all the information that we need to make an appropriate decision. So that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that I'm saying there should be accountability, but that has to be based on all possible information that can be gathered and learned about this terrible tragedy.
And certainly some of that may come on Tuesday from